Yeah, I go. Today, you know how I go. I got notifications. But it's always gonna be a up and down in life. It's gonna always be um, a fluctuation. Doesn't mean that you're unstable or things are going out of whack, or sometimes dissension is necessary to ascend. Just like an eagle flies in the sky, it's necessary. It's going to be necessary for dissension to take or be implemented, because there's always going to be a form of dissension to ascend. Dissension to ascend. Once you understand that, you understand somewhat the flow of life. Sometimes it's necessary there's always a time to mourn. There's always a time to celebrate or be of joy. You let things run its course. You know, just be in the observation for the body thinking, the body feeling, stuff like that, or the mind thinking, the body feeling. You know what I'm saying? Just be an observation of these things. Before I let or allow myself to step outside of what I truly am required to do, I still know I got a job to do. You know, I don't let my emotions get in the way, even though sometimes I can be human and allow my emotions to be kind of tampered with, like in a form of, sometimes you're going to feel overwhelmed. You know, it comes with life to be overwhelmed. Now, I know the subjection I'm in, but it's like growing pains. Sometimes you can be dealing with so much pain, man, and I don't know if you can really relate, but you can be dealing with so much pain, and you just have some of those days like right before it rain, or, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna feel the ache, bones aching, you know, you're gonna feel these certain things like that. You're gonna feel these things. And it's just discomfort. But just acknowledge the fact that you're discomfort, or you're in a state of unpleasantness, or you know, you're just discomforted, and there's just dissatisfaction right now in my circumstance. You know, sometimes you're gonna groan, but I don't get overly dramatic. But I still allow myself to go through, you know, those necessary like occurrences or experiences. I gotta go through those things. You know, these expressions are necessary. You got to step into a new self, or a new state of being. You know what I'm saying? You can't be stuck in certain things. You can't be stuck in the way you think now in this moment. Because just as you're receiving this information, it's going to be a totally different formality of you. It's going to be a totally different identity of who you are in the next second from now. And you're constantly in like I don't know if it's transformative state, but you're constantly in that. God is constantly molding you, you know? some things are gonna be uncomfortable, man. Especially when you're taking up a totally different form and things. Now it's like the identity of who I am, the perspective that I have. I take on certain circumstances different now. I'm not time that you seen yesterday. You know what I'm saying? My perspective is totally different. Like I may have somewhat of fundamental basis when it comes down to like my principles, my morale. You know what I'm saying? My integrity. You know, but the way I approach circumstances and the method that I approach them may change. They may alter based off of new information. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I'm in exchange with things, I found, or I came to that point of revision where I had to go through a self-examination of why certain things could have or play a toll on my emotions. Some circumstances, like just waking up to this every day, and then you kind of losing sight on, it's like, okay, God, did I lose sight on me in our conversation, our intimate conversation? Because I still see everything that I'm going through right now is the plane that you require me to tend to, you know what I'm saying? And in that, I'm realizing, like, as I'm tending to this, occupying this little space, I'm like, all right, God, I'm a little too big for this area. And I desire to grow a lot further, and I'm being choked in where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? When there's so much more that I feel like I can do in expansion. And it's like, okay, if you having me expand in this little place, it's like, you know, it get to a point where you're like, all right, God, like, how much further can I go? Or what else? I have filled this place to the capacity thereof. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, as I'm constantly expanding, it's like there is no more room for me. You know what I mean? So I'm like trying to understand what God is wanting me to see in this. And it's like that's like taking a balloon, filling it up with water. Eventually, you know what I'm saying? The resistance to the balloon is gonna get so tight, ain't nothing else you can put in it until it bursts, right? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, as I'm speaking with you, God has his way of constantly, I'm constantly like undergoing revision. So this analogy is just taking me to a whole nother plane where I remember just now this morning, I was in the shower speaking about, okay, when energy has depleted, like fully depleted in the atom, what happens? And it's like, well, energy necessarily depletes or whatever. And then this Heisenberg theory or something like that, it explained something about it's pretty much no such thing, right? So as I'm accelerating, I'm like, all right, well, I looked at things. Okay, so I'm still called to integrate. So now it's like the only reason why I'm feeling like I'm being so I'm binded, or I'm full to capacity, and I have stretched and expanded so far within this little space. It's like I have utilized the space in every measure. All right, what else is there for me to do if I'm constantly expanding and I can't go nowhere, right? So I'm like, man, so what am I required to do? And then God is taking me through a transformative or a state of transformation, right? Where right now, as I'm expressing this to you, I'm coming to a totally different light. Like I know You must disintegrate to integrate. And energy can just go to its finest point of disintegration, where it's like a zero. They call it a 0 point. That's what Heisenberg was speaking about, 0 point. And I'm at this point where the refinement has become to its finest aspect, right? Where I'm like, okay, what is the substance of that energy? If it's still energy and it has been refined to its finest point, it's transformed into a totally different substance to me. That's just like saying you taking a rock and you're breaking it down all the way to sand, and from sand to dust, and from dust to, you know what I'm saying? And then it goes into a form, but it's still like the rock has turned into a liquid in a sense. It's still rock and it's still solid, but it has atomized so fine to a point of liquid. You know what I'm saying? Where God is really bringing me to a totally different point of having to adapt in the capacity thereof of this space. So I'm at this point where I'm being transforming right now, right? It's cool, bro. And oh man, I don't want to lose nobody on what I'm talking about, right? But my thinking, all right, has disintegrated. But in this moment, it has. But in a totally different way, to the point to where it's like, all right, how fine of a substance of my thinking can I go? To where it's like, now I'm occupying the abyss of an atom in its vastness, to the point to where it's like, well, wait a minute, like, how much more praise or how much more gratitude or how much more of a choice can I occupy or can I utilize within just that capacity? And I don't know if I'm really kind of see, this is it's something that I'm still learning how to articulate, right? But it's the way I process things and the way I think is it's a very, 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 very difficult thing to express through a language that has not really I'm having the language is basically me expressing in English, but it's layman's terms to what I can express in action. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of strange that I can expound in action in this type of way, right? And then if I had if I was able to make a movie or something like that, I could express it a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? But just having to verbalize it and articulate it for someone to actually come to the sense thereof of what I'm expressing and the way I'm expressing it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, all right, you might have witnessed me at a point of not even just dismay, but yeah, in a sense, I was kind of dismayed this morning. I was kind of not really too depressed, but depression, I was just a little overwhelmed because of, just the constraints and how I'm constricted and I'm binded in a degree from what I wish to do when it comes down to catering and caring for myself and my health. You know what I'm saying? To be able to nourish myself, spiritually, physically, you know what I'm saying? I'm so deprived and subjected to concrete and steel, you know what I mean? So in this state of deprivation, it's very excruciating, you know what I mean? And having to bear that is a difficult thing. But it was necessary for me to go through, for me to get to this point of thinking. Because what I see right now and what I have received in this moment of me just recording the video, not knowing what I'm about to talk about, It's profound. You know what I'm saying? It's like God has given me another aspect of peace in a way that words somewhat don't apply. It's kind of hard to describe right now. It's just a little difficult for me to describe because I'm just coming to the light thereof. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the way that I can process things and how my mind accelerates in a sense. It's like soon as I'm at a question with something, I'm provided with the most scientific aspect of description to that. You know what I'm saying? Without me really actually having the knowledge of it so much, but just knowing the function of these things. That's the weird part about things that like, all right, you ever seen that movie Ant-Man, right? And you ever see him go through a quantum leap, right? All right, say my observation warps in that sense. What's up, man? Say if my observation does that on a regular. Let's say that, right? When I'm calculating things, but I have to go to the finest aspect of reality in order for me to get to the point of all right. In order for me to get to a point of an understanding, you know what I'm saying? I've got to this aspect to where it's like, man, like making sure I just got my head cut, man. It's Monday, you know what I'm saying? I can't say it was the best, but it's cool. But yeah. So, man, the way I can examine things is different. So even when I'm like in observation with a person, empathy is like so real. Man, but it's just I know I'm being brought to something right now, and me expressing the discomfort, God gave me room, or gave me so much more to occupy in this little space. Kind of get what I'm saying? In this little space. All right, I remember saying something when I was younger, and I was like, what is out is in, and within there's out. What is all, there's it, and with it there's all. I have seen the means of things. And I remember saying something in the song, Get Right. And I was like, you better get right. I say, so perverse with the juju, trying to hurt in the groove. Hey, don't play with spirit guides. We see through you, thinking with the intent to use lies I despise, manipulating to get this prize with the lies, thinking my God only see with two eyes, only seeing with two sides. You're giving this, you're taking this, you're too blind. Do you know the space between two minds to take a hold of a second? You need to hold up a second. See, I don't be knowing why I be saying some of this stuff, but I be saying it. But to know the space between two minds, just the same thing as that. It's like, I don't know, but it's just for some reason, when I felt like I was expanded to the fullest capacity, God gave me more room, like just in that moment of me just expressing it to you. Where it's like, all right, God, like, like ain't no, and there is no net or mess. There is not a crack. There is not a crack, a crevice that my God can't But there is not a crack or crevice in existence that my God could not be found. That's all I'm saying, man. Like, when the joy is like evident, like he just filled me just then in this moment, man. Oh man, what it takes to be me, man. To even have to conjure a thought, bro. Like, I know the difficulty it is to experience a point of suffering. You know what I'm saying? In your lack of understanding things. You know what I mean? In your lack of comprehending things. How difficult it is to digest the substantial evidence of a lot of things that are very distasteful about reality. You know what I'm saying? And then you'll find for some reason the aspect of pleasantness in that. I mean, if you ever watched that movie Major Pain, and right at the beginning the dude was like, oh, my arm, and he was like, something about your arm. He was like, well, let me see your finger. He's like, now you may feel a little pressure. He ended up breaking the man's finger and took his whole mind off of the gunshot wound. I mean, it's the best of analogy to express, but oh man. Oh man. Boy. God, boy. And I still find a way to really appreciate my God even in that little bit, bro. Like, so I got an old guy who he's hold on, let me see if he's still. Hey, Mr. Nelson. You still out there? Old man still out there? You don't know? Yeah, man, it's an old man. He been gone about 30 years, man. Well, 30 going on about 40 years, man. He's still kicking. And he always stopped by, try to get him something, because he ain't got no more family. You know, all his family done passed away, stuff like that. So when I can do for him, you know what I'm saying? Let him know he still got love. That just keep the guy going every day, you know what I'm saying? He got some type of love out there somewhere in the world, you know what I'm saying? But he just stopped by the window, man, and asked about something to eat, man. And I'm over here fooling with y'all, and I missed him, man. I'm gonna chase him down just to get it to him, because I know he came holler at me. But yeah, man. I just wanted to express that, because it's like, there's not I don't know, it's just something about being in a most like complex situation. It's like hard to wrap your mental capacity around a lot of things in this world that can be so easy to compensate with your disgust. You know what I'm saying? But it's like when there's a place, there's a reason for why every circumstance calls for your humility, because in that, God can be found. It's not, no matter how damned you may feel you are in your life. You know what I'm saying? You gotta open your eyes to the fact of why you are called to witness and bear such an identity. All right, because you are the elaboration of God. You are the elaboration of God. And to elaborate means to expound, to go in depth. And me expressing that point of refinement or being brought to the finest point or finest state, it allows you to go in places that's like going through a sifting mechanism, or not even that. Just it's like, say you have many rocks, so many rocks, so many rocks, but then yet water still finds its way to drip through all the sand. You know what I'm saying? It's like I was always wondering why Bruce Lee. I didn't wonder why, but I understood when Bruce Lee was like, become like water. But I never looked at it to this degree of refinement. You know what I'm saying? And to be broken down to its finest point, to where you can, like, there is nothing that can actually bind you anymore. Like, I had to transform. I had to go through a point of disintegration. I had to be broken down to its finest form in order to be released and free. You know what I'm saying? Like the air. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, it's everything is sound. And sound cannot really truly be contained. So that's the reason why I was expressing in my old writing yesterday about this hum that I'm always, this hum. Like, I don't know if anybody ever feels or hears the hum of like the atmosphere or just the ambience of what you occupy. And it's like, it's constantly humming. It's always humming. Like, as if like you cut a power generator on, well, I can hear it. I can feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of, I ain't even getting all that. You know what I'm saying? Now I feel like I'm doing stoner talk. Got these mice in the vent. If you just heard whatever, that was mice. If you run around, man, you ate my soup up last night. I fooled around, man, left it on, man. This experience, this life experience, for some reason, I've always had access to my joy. I've always had access to my joy. And that always been right there with my choice. Something a man could not really ever contain. Nothing could ever compartmentalize that. It could never control that. My joy and my choice. Like, my choice is there, and the options thereof is disgust and joy. Or, you know what I'm saying? My agreement to agree and disagree. The choice is right there within the origin of that. And between those two banks, I am found residing in every circumstance, like untouchable. Like, oh man, and the praise is just that ambient, like it's just that illuminating to the point to where, yeah, it is like a light thereof, man. It ain't no, oh man. But yeah, I'm about to get into my research real quick because I think I'm led to investigate something. I need to be able to articulate this this point of accessibility that God has granted to me. I have discovered a new aspect of reality that I need to go and play around in. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to go and really spread my wings in that little bit, and come to a better way to articulate it to others. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this was a video right here. I ain't lying. Yeah.